I'm Vivian, and I thought I had it all figured out. A steady life, a quiet home, and a love that felt like an anchor in the storm of my husband Ethan's wild energy. But beneath the surface, a restless ache gnawed at me, whispering that something was missing, something I couldn't name until it stared me in the face. I took a daring leap, orchestrating a night that would shatter the boundaries of our marriage, igniting a fire I didn't expect to burn so fiercely. What unfolded in the dim glow of our living room changed everything. But did it save us or break us beyond repair? There's a certain stillness in the way the late afternoon light spills through my window, casting long, lazy shadows across my desk. It's not the kind of quiet that soothes, though. It's the kind that presses against you, daring you to break it. My name's Vivian, and at 33, I've carved out a life in this sleepy suburban pocket just beyond Chicago's restless heartbeat. It's a good life, don't get me wrong. Stable, predictable. I'm a freelance graphic designer, which means my days are spent tethered to a screen in my home office, shaping pixels into something meaningful for clients I'll never meet. There's comfort in the rhythm of it. Coffee at 8, deadlines by noon, the soft hum of my laptop as the world outside keeps spinning without me. But lately, I've felt this gap. Not a void exactly, but a whisper of something missing. A hunger for a spark I can't quite name. I catch my reflection sometimes in the monitor's dark edges when it sleeps. Average height, dark brown hair usually wrestled into a loose bun, and hazel eyes that hold more stories than they let on. They've seen late nights of doubt, quiet victories, and a love that's both anchor and storm. That love is Ethan, my husband. He's 26, a freelance musician with an energy that crackles like static before a thunderstorm. Where I'm steady, he's a live wire, tall and lean, with tousled black hair that always looks like he's just rolled out of bed after a night of chasing dreams. And those green eyes of his, they're intense, like they're always searching for the next big thing, brimming with 1,000 unspoken aspirations. I see them and feel the weight of my own years, not in a bad way, but in a way that reminds me I've settled into myself while he's still racing towards something I can't always grasp. I love him, though, deeply. It's not the wild, reckless kind of love I might have chased a decade ago. It's something quieter, more rooted, a love that knows how to weather his storms. Ethan's got this untamed side, this need to leap before he looks, and I've always accepted it, even if I can't always keep up. There are nights when he comes home late, smelling of dive bars and guitar strings, his voice rough with excitement as he tells me about a gig or a new riff he's obsessed with. I listen, smile, and let him pull me into his orbit, even if just for a moment. Sometimes, in the heat of those moments, we find ourselves tangled up in a way that's all raw energy and unspoken need, our connection burning bright in the dark, a dance of hands and whispers that speaks louder than words. It's a fire I cherish, even if I'm the one who usually douses it with practicality come morning. But lately, I've been wondering if I've let too much of myself grow tame. There's a restlessness in me that I can't shake, a nagging thought that maybe I've been too content to let life just happen. This morning, I'm standing in the kitchen, the bitter warmth of coffee curling up from the mug in my hands, watching Ethan in the living room. He's sprawled on the couch, guitar resting across his lap, fingers dancing over the strings with a kind of effortless grace that always steals my breath. The notes he plays are raw, unpolished, like he's pulling them straight from his soul, and he's so lost in it that he doesn't even notice me watching. His head tilts back slightly, eyes half closed, and I can almost see the world he's escaping to. A place of late-night stages and endless highways, a place I'm not sure I've ever fully reached with him. I take a sip of my coffee, the heat grounding me, but my mind is anything but steady. Ethan's passion for life. It's like a wildfire, beautiful, consuming, and sometimes a little dangerous. Those late-night gigs that stretch into dawn, The way he'll suddenly decide we need to drive 3 hours just to see a sunrise over some forgotten lake. It's exhilarating, but it also leaves me feeling like I'm standing on the sidelines of my own marriage. I'm the one who keeps the bills paid, the fridge stocked, the quiet order of our life intact, while he chases the next thrill. And I don't resent him for it. Not really. But there's a part of me that wonders if I've become too much of a safety net, too much of a tether when he's meant to soar. Just last week, over a late dinner, he laughed about missing the rush of his early 20s, those reckless, untamed years before we met. He said it with a grin, fork halfway to his mouth, like it was just a passing thought. But that comment stuck with me, burrowing deep. Did he mean he missed the freedom? The unpredictability? Or was there something in me, something safe and steady, that couldn't match that old spark? I didn't ask. I just smiled, changed the subject, but it's been replaying in my head ever since, a quiet echo I can't silence. Later that day, after Ethan heads out for a quick errand, I find myself on our porch as the sun dips low, painting the sky in streaks of amber and violet. I'm alone with my thoughts, the creak of the old wooden swing beneath me, the only sound in the stillness. I wrap my hands around my knees, pulling them close, and let my mind wander. What if I could give him something extraordinary? Something that would light that fire in him again? Something that might even reignite the parts of me I've let grow dim? The idea feels wild, almost reckless, but it's there, taking root. My heart beats a little faster, a mix of nerves and curiosity swirling in my chest. There's a strange determination too, a need to step outside the box I've built around myself. That idea I had on the porch a few days ago, it's grown into something real, something I can't ignore anymore. I've been mulling it over, turning it in my mind like a puzzle I'm desperate to solve. And then, through a mutual acquaintance, I found her. Lila. She's 23, an artist with a spirit that seems to dance on the edge of chaos. The first time I saw her, I couldn't help but notice how petite she is, barely reaching my shoulder, with fiery red hair that spills over her shoulders like a cascade of embers. Her smile, though, there's a mischievous edge to it, a glint of something daring that instantly reminded me of Ethan's untamed energy. She carries herself with this carefree confidence, an aura that feels like a challenge to the quiet order of my life. I met her at a local cafe just a few days after that restless moment on the porch. The place smelled of roasted coffee beans and cinnamon, the hum of conversation buzzing around us as we sat at a small table by the window. I was nervous, my fingers tracing the rim of my mug over and over, trying to find the right words. Lila, though, she was all ease, leaning back in her chair, her green eyes curious as she waited for me to speak. I stumbled through small talk at first. Her art, her latest project, a mural she's painting downtown. But then, I hinted at something unconventional, a vague outline of an idea I wasn't ready to fully voice. I expected her to laugh or brush it off, but instead, she tilted her head, a spark of intrigue lighting up her face. She said she's always been drawn to experiences that push boundaries, that life's too short to play it safe. Her words hit me like a jolt, echoing the very restlessness I've been feeling. By the time we parted ways, I knew she was the missing piece to the plan forming in my head. Fast forward to tonight, and I'm standing in our living room, my heart racing so fast I can barely breathe. I've spent the last hour preparing the space, dimming the lights until the room is bathed in a soft amber glow. There's a small camera on a tripod tucked discreetly in the corner, its purpose a secret I'm not ready to share. Not yet. I've asked Ethan to sit on the couch after dinner, and he's there now, his long legs stretched out, a puzzled look creasing his brow. I can see the questions in his green eyes, the way they search mine for answers, but I just shake my head and say, "No questions, just trust me." My voice is steadier than I feel, masking the storm of nerves churning inside me. He nods slowly, though I can tell he's wary, his fingers drumming lightly on his knee like they're itching to play a riff to break the tension. Then, I hear the soft knock at the door, and my pulse spikes. I take a deep breath, steady myself, and go to answer it. Lila's standing there, wearing a simple black dress that hugs her frame, her red hair catching the faint light from the hallway. Her eyes sparkle with anticipation, a nervous but excited smile playing on her lips. I lead her into the living room, and the air shifts instantly, thickening with an unspoken charge. Ethan's gaze snaps to her, then back to me, confusion etched across his face. I can feel the weight of the moment pressing down on me, but I push through it, my voice calm as I introduce her. Ethan, this is Lila. She's my gift to you. The words hang there, heavy and raw, and I see his eyes widen, shock flashing across his features like lightning. Lila lets out a small, nervous giggle, her fingers twisting a strand of her hair as she steps closer to him. My heart is pounding so hard I'm sure they can hear it. But I step back, giving them space, my hands trembling slightly at my sides. For a moment, no one moves, the silence so thick it feels like it might shatter. Then Lila, with that daring edge I noticed at the cafe, breaks the days following that charged night with Lila feel like wading through a thick fog, heavy with things left unsaid. The house is quieter than usual, the kind of silence that seems to cling to every corner, amplifying the smallest sounds. The clink of a spoon against a coffee mug, the creak of a floorboard underfoot. Ethan and I move around each other like ghosts, careful not to disturb the fragile air between us. Over breakfast, I notice how he keeps his gaze fixed on his plate, his green eyes avoiding mine, as if looking at me might unravel something he's not ready to face. I don't push him, though. Instead, I sip my coffee, letting the bitter warmth anchor me while my mind spins with questions I'm too afraid to ask. Did I go too far? Was this a mistake? Or did I uncover something raw and real that we've both been ignoring for too long? In my home office, I try to lose myself in work, dragging my cursor across the screen to tweak designs for a client's logo. But my focus keeps slipping. My eyes drift to the small camera sitting on the edge of my desk, its black lens staring back at me like a silent witness to that night. I can't help but steal glances at it, my fingers itching to pick it up, to revisit the footage I captured. Each time I look away, pretending to refocus on my screen, my heart thumps a little harder, a mix of curiosity and uncertainty swirling in my chest. I wonder if I've crossed an invisible line, if I've opened a door I can't close. Or maybe, just maybe, I've tapped into something deeper, something that could redefine everything I thought I knew about us. The not knowing gnaws at me, a quiet ache that follows me through the day. The next few mornings pass in much the same way. Ethan leaves for a gig or a rehearsal, his goodbye a quick nod or a mumbled word as he grabs his guitar case. I stay behind, surrounded by the hum of my laptop and the weight of my own thoughts. I catch myself replaying fragments of that night in my mind, flashes of movement, whispers of intensity, the way the air seemed to crackle with unspoken energy. I'm not sure if I'm searching for answers or just torturing myself with the memory. Either way, it's a loop I can't escape, and with each passing day, the silence between Ethan and me grows heavier, like a storm building on the horizon. A week after that unforgettable evening, I decide I can't carry this tension any longer. It's a Thursday, the sky outside our window painted in muted grays as dusk settles over the neighborhood. I've spent the day restless, pacing between my office and the kitchen, my mind made up. We need to face this, whatever this is. So I set the stage in our bedroom, dimming the lights until the room glows with a soft, intimate warmth. I place 2 glasses of red wine on the nightstand, the deep crimson catching the faint light, and smooth out the comforter on our bed, trying to steady my nerves with each small action. My hands are shaky as I adjust a lamp, casting a gentle amber hue across the space. Then, I call out to Ethan, my voice softer than I intend, asking him to join me. I hear his footsteps before I see him, slow and hesitant, like he's not sure what he's walking into. When he appears in the doorway, his tall frame fills the space, his tousled black hair falling into his eyes. He's wearing a faded band tee and jeans, looking every bit the restless musician I fell for. But there's a guarded edge to him now, a wariness I'm not used to seeing. He steps closer, his green eyes searching mine, flickering with a mix of curiosity and caution, as if he's trying to read my intentions before I even speak. I gesture to the bed and he sits beside me, the mattress dipping slightly under his weight. The space between us feels electric, charged with everything we haven't said. I don't waste time with small talk. My heart is pounding as I reach for my laptop on the nightstand, my fingers brushing against the cool metal of the laptop as I pull it onto my lap. The screen flickers to life, casting a pale glow across our faces, and I feel Ethan tense beside me. My breath catches for a moment, but I press on, clicking through folders until I find the file I've been both dreading and craving to open. It's the footage from that night with Lila, a captured fragment of something wild and uncharted. I don't look at him as I hit play, my eyes fixed on the screen, but I can feel the weight of his gaze, the unspoken questions hanging between us like a fragile thread. The video starts, and it's like stepping back into a storm I can't control. The images flicker, shadows and light dancing across familiar spaces, moments of intensity that unfold with a raw, unspoken energy. It's not just what's shown, but what's felt. The electric charge of stepping beyond boundaries, the way every glance and touch carried a weight heavier than words. My heart races as I watch, not just because of the memory, but because I'm seeing it through new eyes, reliving the daring choice I made to give Ethan something so far outside our norm. I steal a glance at him, and his expression is unreadable, his jaw tight, green eyes locked on the screen as if he's seeing a part of himself he didn't expect to confront. As the video draws to a close, the final frame fades to black, and a silence settles over us, so thick it feels like it could suffocate. It's not just quiet. It's a heavy, loaded stillness, brimming with everything we haven't dared to say since that night. I close the laptop slowly, the soft click of the lid sounding louder than it should in the dim room. I don't move, don't speak, just sit there with my hands resting on the cool surface, waiting for something, anything, to break this unbearable tension. My chest feels tight, like I'm holding my breath for a verdict I'm not sure I'm ready to hear. Then, Ethan turns to me, his movement slow, almost hesitant. His voice comes out as a whisper, barely audible, but it cuts through the silence like a blade. "I've never seen you so alive." Those words hit me like a wave, crashing over every doubt and fear I've been carrying. They pierce straight through to something raw inside me, something I've kept buried under years of routine and caution. I feel my throat tighten, a rush of emotion I can't name swelling in my chest. It's not just about him seeing me in a new light. It's about realizing that this wasn't only a gift for him. It was for us. For me. A chance to rediscover a piece of myself I thought I'd lost somewhere along the way, smothered by the predictability of daily life. I turned to face him, my movement slow, almost reverent, as if any sudden motion might shatter this fragile moment. Our foreheads touch, a gentle collision that feels like an anchor in the storm of emotions swirling around us. His skin is warm against mine, and for the first time in days, the wall of silence between us crumbles. Words spill out, soft and unhurried, as we finally talk, really talk. He confesses how that night, seeing me step so far out of my comfort zone, made him feel seen in a way he hadn't expected. He tells me that my willingness to dive into his world, to embrace something so unconventional, pulled him closer to me than he thought possible. His voice is low, rough with emotion, and I can hear the truth in every word, the way it trembles just slightly as he speaks. I find myself opening up too, my voice barely above a whisper, as I admit something I hadn't fully understood until now. Watching him through the lens that night, capturing his unfiltered passion, it stirred something in me I thought was long gone. It wasn't just about giving him a moment to remember, it was about seeing him with fresh eyes, feeling that wildfire energy of his ignite something dormant in my own soul. I tell him how I felt alive in a way I hadn't in years, how stepping into that unknown territory reminded me. As I sit here now, weeks after that pivotal night, I can still feel the echoes of how it reshaped us. That moment of raw honesty, when Ethan and I finally bared our souls to each other, became a turning point I never saw coming. It's not just about what happened with Lila, it's about what it unlocked in us. A deeper, more unguarded connection that feels like stepping into uncharted territory together. The days that followed weren't easy at first, but they've woven into a new rhythm, one that hums with a quiet intensity I hadn't known we could share. In the weeks since, Ethan and I have found ourselves drawn back to that footage often. It's not an obsession, not some desperate need to relive the past, but more like a touchstone, a way to reconnect with the vulnerability and fire of that night. Late at night, when the world outside our window is still, we'll pull the laptop under the covers, the soft glow of the screen casting shadows across our faces. We watch in silence at first, the flickering images pulling us back to those charged moments of daring and discovery. Sometimes we can't help but laugh at the little things. Ethan's awkward grin at one point, or the way my hand trembled just slightly as I adjusted the camera. Other times, we don't say a word. Just let the memories wash over us, our hands finding each other in the dark, fingers intertwining as if to anchor ourselves in the present while revisiting the past. There's a warmth in those shared silences, a closeness that feels like it's been forged anew, stronger for having been tested by something so far outside our norm. I've noticed a change in myself through all of this, a shift I can't quite put into words, but feel in every fiber of my being. I'm more awake, more attuned to the pulse of my own desires, as if that night stripped away layers of caution I'd wrapped around myself over the years. I catch myself taking risks in small ways, saying yes to a spontaneous road trip with Ethan, or diving into a design project that scares me with its boldness. It's like I've rediscovered a part of me that had been sleeping, a part that craves the thrill of the unknown, not just for him, but for myself. And Ethan, he's different too. There's a softness to him now, a presence I hadn't seen before, as if my stepping into his wilder world gave him permission to meet me halfway, to be fully himself without the fear of leaving me behind. I see it in the way he lingers over coffee with me in the mornings, no longer rushing out the door with a hurried goodbye, or in the way his green eyes hold mine a little longer, searching for something deeper than words can convey. We never invited Lila back, and we've both agreed we don't need to repeat what happened. That night was a singular spark, a catalyst that burned through the walls we'd unknowingly built between us. It wasn't about her, not really. It was about what her presence allowed us to see in each other, a mirror to our hidden longings and unspoken truths. We've tucked that chapter away, not as a secret to be hidden, but as a memory that belongs only to us, a private cornerstone of this new foundation we're building. I don't feel the need to chase that kind of intensity again. What matters is the intimacy it left behind, the way it taught us to reach for each other with a kind of honesty we hadn't dared before. I think about that a lot as the days turn into weeks, as summer fades into the crisp edge of autumn. One evening, I find myself on our porch again, the same spot where this whole journey began with a restless thought under a painted sky. Ethan's beside me this time, his shoulder brushing against mine as we sit on the old wooden swing, its familiar creak a quiet soundtrack to the moment. The sun is setting, spilling golden light across the horizon, and I feel his hand slip into mine, his calloused fingers warm and steady against my skin. There's no need for words right now. The air between us is light, unburdened by the weight of unspoken things. I feel at peace. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment if you enjoyed this story. This will help us create more engaging stories for you.